Kyrie Irving was dropped from his Nike sponsorship 2 years ago because he said some controversial things. Then a a Hong Kong-based company named Anta signed him to a shoe deal right after. Anta shoes are booming in sales in American markets with their new Kyrie baseline, and while the athlete endorsement is obviously going to drive some degree of the sales, there's at least a component of the company's success that came from the extra exposure Kyrie is getting due to the Mavericks' playoff success this year. Let's say that Anta sells 10,000 more pairs of shoes each year for the next 5 years purely because of the Mavericks making the NBA Finals. At $25 of profit each and using a discounted cash flow model of valuation, we can conclude that the Mavericks increased Anta's stock price by like a monumental 9 cents. This led me to an epiphany. If financial markets are affected by real-life events, allegedly, why can't they be affected by real-life events that happen to occur on a basketball court or any sporting pitch? As a prototypical early 20s white-collar dude with a modicum of disposable income but no future that justifies saving that money for, I've been looking for ways to combine risky financial products with my overly extensive knowledge of professional sports without having to call myself a degenerate gambler. Because we all know that if it happens on a Bloomberg terminal with a Charles Schwab account, it's called investing, not gambling. So I came up with 3 ways to turn your sports fandom into investable financial securities. The most direct financialization of sports occurs when the teams themselves are publicly traded stocks. North America has 4 examples: the New York Knicks and Rangers under the MSG Group, the Atlanta Braves, and the Toronto Blue Jays via the Rogers Communications Inc. Unfortunately, these stocks don't really seem to be affected by the on-field performance of their teams. It's more about media rights deals and ticket economies. European football is more reliant on matchday ticket sales, so the team's success actually matters for the club's profitability. Now, people who choose terrorism as their preferred career path aren't exactly the best and the brightest, but I'm confident in saying the securitization of Borussia Dortmund shares inspired the dumbest terrorist plot of all time. This dude bought a bunch of put options on Dortmund stock and tried to bomb the team bus because the stock would tank if they lost all their players. But his bomb was Mickey Mouse, and all the players were okay. The stock didn't tank, and he lost all his money on his bet. Then he got caught and was sentenced to 14 years in jail. The lesson from this story: you shouldn't always be the change you want to see in this world. Large international sporting events attract tourists from all over the world to one single host country. This increases the strength of the home country's currency while decreasing the strength of the currency of the visiting fans. The FIFA World Cup is the best example of this. As the tournament progresses and tourist nationalities concentrate more and more, this could theoretically have real effects on international currency swap markets. There's extra pressure and volatility if a small nation with an unstable currency made a surprise run to like the World Cup final. Imagine if Zimbabwe somehow won the World Cup. Also imagine you're an average Zimbabwean in this scenario and you're trying to celebrate, but you go to the grocery store and a loaf of bread is now $3 trillion instead of the usual $2 trillion. This doesn't really happen in American sports leagues though. I guess that time the Raptors were in the NBA Finals, that could have affected the exchange rate between USD and whatever monopoly money they use in Canada. And when the finals was between Milwaukee and Phoenix, that probably had effects on swap markets between air conditioners and Busch Light. And this year we're seeing extra volatility in exchange contracts between 17-lane highways and Confederate flags. Broader questions naturally arise when juxtaposing financial markets with sports fandom. Can the results of a sports game be so inspiring to the workers of the nation as to increase overall economic productivity? Conversely, can the demise of a certain team be so deflating as to provoke a recession? So I looked back on the NBA Finals for the past 50 years to see if there's a correlation between the NBA champion and yearly economic performance. By calculating the average return of the S&P 500 for NBA teams that won multiple championships in that period. The Bulls dynasty comes in strong with 19% returns, another argument for Jordan as the GOAT. The Rockets, Spurs, and even the Pistons all look good for your portfolio. Heck, even the Lakers and the Warriors have positive average returns. Personally, those teams winning a championship makes me want to stop contributing to the American economy, but they don't seem to be that bad for the S&P. It seems that the Great Depression we all feel when the Celtics win a championship will also hit our wallets.